The Second Amendment of the United States Constitution stands as a testament to the foresight and wisdom of our founding fathers, who understood the importance of individual liberties in the formation of a free and just society. It reads, "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." These words have been the subject of extensive analysis and interpretation over the years. These words, etched in the bedrock of our nation's charter, continue to ignite passionate debate centuries later. The discussions surrounding the Second Amendment are as vibrant and contentious today as they were at the time of its inception. This video will delve into the historical context of the Second Amendment, explore its evolution through landmark Supreme Court cases, and examine how these rulings have shaped our current understanding of this fundamental right, and emphasize the importance of upholding its original intent for generations to come. The preservation of this right is crucial for maintaining the balance of power between the government and the people. The Second Amendment is not merely a historical artifact. It is a living, breathing principle that continues to influence our daily lives and societal structures. It is a living, breathing principle that safeguards our individual liberties and ensures the very survival of our republic. The right to keep and bear arms is a cornerstone of American identity and freedom. It is a right that has been fiercely defended by patriots throughout our nation's history. From the Revolutionary War to modern-day conflicts, the Second Amendment has been a symbol of resistance and self-determination. Today it faces unprecedented challenges from those who seek to restrict or even abolish it. The debate over gun control and the Second Amendment is a complex and multifaceted issue that requires careful consideration and respect for differing viewpoints. Understanding the true meaning and scope of the Second Amendment is paramount in these turbulent times. It is essential to engage in informed and respectful dialogue to navigate these challenges. We must remember that the right to keep and bear arms is not a gift from the government. It is a fundamental right that predates the Constitution and is rooted in the natural law principles that our nation was founded upon. It is an inherent right endowed by our Creator and enshrined in our Constitution. This belief underscores the importance of protecting this right from encroachments. As we navigate the complex legal and political landscape surrounding the Second Amendment, we must remain vigilant in our defense of this fundamental right. The courts play a crucial role in interpreting and upholding the Constitution, and their decisions have far-reaching implications. The future of our freedom depends on it. The enduring legacy of the Second Amendment is a testament to the resilience and enduring spirit of the American people. To fully grasp the significance of the Second Amendment, we must journey back to the tumultuous years leading up to the American Revolution. It was a time of great upheaval and uncertainty, where the very notion of freedom was being fiercely contested. The Founding Fathers, having just cast off the shackles of British tyranny, were acutely aware of the dangers posed by a powerful, centralized government. They had experienced the heavy hand of oppression and knew the importance of safeguarding the newfound liberty they had fought so hard to achieve. They had witnessed firsthand how a standing army could be used to suppress liberty and impose the will of a despotic ruler. The presence of such an army in the colonies was a constant reminder of the potential for abuse of power. The founders believed that a well-armed citizenry served as the ultimate check against government overreach. They saw the militia, composed of ordinary citizens, as a vital component in the defense of their rights and freedoms. They understood that a free people, capable of defending themselves, were less likely to be subjugated by their own government. The ability to bear arms was seen as a fundamental right, essential to the preservation of liberty. The Second Amendment, therefore, was not simply about hunting or self-defense against criminals. It was a profound statement about the balance of power between the government and its citizens. It was about ensuring the very survival of liberty itself. The founders wanted to create a system where the people held the ultimate authority, and the right to bear arms was a crucial part of that vision. Thomas Jefferson, the primary author of the Declaration of Independence, eloquently articulated this sentiment when he wrote, "The strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves against tyranny in government." His words continue to echo through the ages, reminding us of the importance of this right. This principle, deeply ingrained in the American psyche, continues to resonate strongly with millions of citizens today. The right to bear arms is seen not just as a historical artifact, but as a living, breathing part of American identity. The Second Amendment stands as a stark reminder that the ultimate power in a free society rests not with the government, but with the people. It is a symbol of the enduring spirit of independence and self-reliance that defines the American character. It is a testament to the founders' belief that a well-armed citizenry is the best guarantee against tyranny and the surest safeguard of liberty. Their vision was clear: a nation where the people are empowered to defend their freedoms and ensure that their government remains a servant, not a master. The importance of an armed citizenry was not merely a theoretical concept for the Founding Fathers, it was a lived reality for them. In the early days of the Republic, state militias composed of ordinary citizens played a crucial role in securing independence and defending the fledgling nation. These militias, equipped and trained by the people themselves, served as a deterrent against foreign aggression and a safeguard against domestic unrest. They were a tangible manifestation of the founders' belief in the importance of a well-regulated militia for the security of a free state. The Second Amendment's ratification in 1791 solidified this principle, ensuring that the right to keep and bear arms would be protected from government infringement. This right was not seen as a threat to public safety, but rather as essential to it. The early American experience confirms that the founders' vision of a well-armed citizenry was not a recipe for chaos, but a cornerstone of a free and secure society. This understanding of the Second Amendment remained largely unchallenged for much of our nation's long history. However, in the 20th century, a new interpretation of the Second Amendment began to emerge, one that would significantly alter the landscape of American gun rights. This interpretation, known as the collective rights theory, argued that the amendment only protected the right of states to maintain militias, not the right of individuals to own guns. This theory suggested that the Second Amendment was more about state power than individual freedom. This view gained traction in some legal circles and eventually found its way into Supreme Court jurisprudence. Legal scholars and judges began to debate the true meaning of the Second Amendment, leading to a shift in how gun rights were perceived. In the 1939 case of United States v. Miller, the court upheld the National Firearms Act, which regulated certain types of firearms. This case was pivotal as it marked the first time the Supreme Court directly addressed the Second Amendment in the context of federal gun control laws. The court's decision, while limited in scope, seemed to lend credence to the collective rights interpretation. It suggested that the federal government had the authority to regulate firearms, as long as the regulations did not interfere with the state's ability to maintain a militia. The collective rights theory represented a significant departure from the original understanding of the Second Amendment. The Founding Fathers had envisioned a well-armed citizenry as a crucial check on government power, a safeguard against tyranny. It undermined the founders' vision of a well-armed citizenry as a bulwark against tyranny and opened the door for increased gun control measures. This shift in interpretation allowed for more restrictive laws and regulations on gun ownership. This misinterpretation of the Second Amendment would cast a long shadow over the legal landscape for decades to come. The debate over individual versus collective rights continued to shape legal arguments and public policy. It would take a series of landmark Supreme Court cases in the 21st century to finally restore the individual right to keep and bear arms to its rightful place in American law and society. These cases reaffirmed the original intent of the Second Amendment, emphasizing the importance of individual gun ownership for self-defense and liberty. In the 21st century, the interpretation of the Second Amendment underwent significant clarification through a series of landmark Supreme Court cases. These cases would reaffirm the individual right to keep and bear arms, shaping the legal landscape and public policy concerning gun rights in modern America. District of Columbia v. Heller marked a pivotal moment. The Supreme Court struck down 2 Washington, D.C. laws that banned handguns and operable firearms in homes. The court held that the Second Amendment guarantees an individual right to keep and bear arms, separate from militia service. This decision emphasized individual self-defense as a core component of the Second Amendment, allowing for lawful purposes like hunting and recreation. Justice Scalia, writing for the majority, clarified that the militia clause in the Second Amendment explained its inclusion, but did not limit the right to keep and bear arms. The Heller decision was followed by McDonald v. City of Chicago, where the Supreme Court struck down a similar law and held that the Second Amendment is incorporated to the states via the 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause. Justice Samuel Alito, writing for the majority, declared that the Second Amendment is fully applicable to the individual states. This ruling ensured that state laws could not infringe upon the individual right to keep and bear arms. In 2016, the Supreme Court addressed the applicability of the Second Amendment to modern weapons in Caetano v. Massachusetts. The court overturned a woman's conviction for possessing a stun gun, affirming that the Second Amendment protects arms that did not exist at the time of its ratification. This case reinforced the principle that self-defense is a fundamental right, regardless of the weapon used. The most recent significant case, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, Inc. v. Bruen, addressed the issue of carrying handguns in public. The Supreme Court struck down New York's May-issue licensing system, which required applicants to demonstrate a special need for self-defense to carry a handgun outside their homes. The court ruled that regulations on gun ownership must align with the historical tradition of firearm regulation, dating back to the ratification of the Second and 14th Amendments. This decision underscored the broad scope of the Second Amendment in protecting the right to bear arms in public for self-defense. These landmark cases have solidified the individual right to keep and bear arms, ensuring that the Second Amendment's original intent remains a vital part of American law and society today. The landscape of Second Amendment rights continues to evolve as recent court rulings further test the boundaries set by landmark cases like New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, Inc. v. Bruen. One such case is United States v. Morgan. In this case, a district court in Kansas found that the federal prohibition on the possession of machine guns failed to meet the historical tradition of firearm regulation as outlined in Bruen. The court ruled that the Second Amendment applies to bearable arms, which includes the weapons Morgan was charged with possessing, a machine gun and a machine gun conversion device. Judge John Brooms noted the broad definition of machine gun under federal law, which could encompass a wide range of weapons, from aircraft-mounted cannons to handheld tasers. This broad scope ultimately led to the dismissal of Morgan's facial challenge, but allowed his as-applied challenge to proceed. The government argued that machine guns were not covered by the Second Amendment, citing past cases on dangerous and unusual weapons. However, the court determined that these precedents did not directly address machine guns and that the weapons in question were indeed bearable arms under the Second Amendment. The court found that the historical analogs provided by the government were insufficient to justify the prohibition on simple possession of machine guns. English common law and a North Carolina case from 1824 were deemed irrelevant to the Second Amendment's original intent. Thus, the charges against Morgan were dismissed, but the federal law itself was not invalidated. The ruling has sparked significant controversy. Gun control advocates, including Everytown, expressed dismay, arguing that the decision endangers public safety. However, the court's decision was grounded in the constitutional analysis set forth by the Supreme Court in Bruen. As debates over gun control and Second Amendment rights continue, cases like United States v. Morgan remind us of the complex interplay between historical precedent, constitutional interpretation, and modern-day firearm regulations. The ongoing legal battles will undoubtedly shape the future of gun rights in America. The ripple effect of these rulings underscores the importance of understanding the historical context and constitutional framework that govern our rights and freedoms. As the nation navigates these legal challenges, the enduring legacy of the Second Amendment remains a pivotal aspect of American law and society. In conclusion, the Constitution never granted the federal government the power to regulate or restrict firearms. The court ruled that the only acceptable regulations regarding gun ownership are those that were permissible when the states ratified the Second Amendment. In other words, the regulation must be consistent with America's historical tradition of firearm regulation. Therefore, the federal government can only impose a gun regulation if it was permissible in 1791. States may only impose regulations permissible in 1868, when the states ratified the 14th Amendment. This interpretation underscores a return to the historical roots of the Second Amendment, emphasizing the original intent of the framers. The court's decision reinforces the notion that contemporary gun regulations must be deeply rooted in the nation's history and traditions. This approach aims to ensure that modern laws do not stray from the foundational principles that have governed American society for centuries. As we move forward, the implications of this constitutional context are profound. Lawmakers and courts alike will need to navigate the delicate balance between preserving public safety and upholding constitutional rights. The ongoing legal battles and evolving interpretations will continue to shape the landscape of gun rights in America. Understanding the historical context and constitutional framework that govern our rights is crucial in these debates. As the nation grapples with these complex issues, the enduring legacy of the Second Amendment remains a pivotal aspect of American law and society. Thank you for joining us as we explore these intricate and vital topics. Stay frosty, friends. Keep your head down and your powder dry.